introduce Lucy Alderson, literacy instructor, project coordinator at the Carnegie Learning Centre, the Wish Learning Centre, and Lucy is part of the Community Development Outreach Department from Capilano University. Lucy.
All right, thanks. Well, I want to just start by saying that I just feel like getting up on this table and just ranting on this subject.
Yes,
thank you. Right. Because I really feel like I'm amongst peers about this. But, you know, we've been talking about the digital divide since the 1980s, you know, when computers were just first starting coming along. People recognized right away that people who can afford access are going to have different opportunities and advantage than people who, people who don't. So, so this is not a new topic. This is like a 30 to 40-year-old topic, and I can't believe we're still in the same spot talking about it. But anyway, I think I'm going to tell you stuff that you already know. But I think I just wanted to go through this a little bit to tell you a bit about what we do at the Carnegie Learning Centre and how it relates to this whole topic. So we are Capilano. We are a partner in the Learning Centre at Carnegie and at Wish. But we also work with about 55 volunteers like yourselves, really making services and hours and help in tutoring, in upgrading, in literacy, in introducing people to computers, but also, reading, writing, English, math, all these different things. But we have found that we are spending more and more time doing the work of government departments. And so I wanted just to give you an example of something where this particular example really also showed me some new levels of sort of disinterest, I would call it, from various levels of government. So one of the things that we do is that we do help people do their online welfare orientation at Carnegie. And so this is, as you know, this is a long process. It's about 24 screens of information. And so people come in and they've just been given a website. Here, do your online. I see some of our other great volunteers nodding. So we get this website and we go onto it with people. So people come in and first of all, they're just given this paper. They have to find a computer and they have to find someone who knows how to use a computer, who's willing to spend almost an hour with them. And if they're if it's difficult for them to read, which is official, it's not just reading anything, it's reading all this meaningful legal text. So if they don't feel strong about that, then they need someone to read it with them. So that can take about at least an hour. So we do this, and so this one person came in. He just landed in Vancouver, and he was given this, and now they're telling people, go to the Carnegie. So he came over, and luckily, we had enough time to do this, and we started to go through his orientation. We did the whole thing. So during this time, it's asking very private information. So we're in a learning center. There's about 20 other people. There's a little bit of noise, so he's having to speak loudly, or I'll ask him to write. And in his case, he could write some of that information. But this private information is being broadcast over the whole center. So we finished that. Because I've done this before a few times, I recognize the page on the screen where this confirmation number comes up. And I'm ready for it, because we've almost missed it, and then we would have to start all over again. So we get this confirmation number, it's all, he's on his way, and then he leaves a place where he can receive a message. It has to be available, for the next 5 days at this message center, because they're going to call at any time, right? So he gets a message, he comes back another day. Luckily, we see each other, because I'm not there all the time. And he says, I've been asked to do this next piece. So we went on to the next step, which is that he needed to prove and I know this is not news for some of you, but maybe for some of you it isn't, so I'm going to just explain it. He said they keep telling, I'm supposed to call this person, but I don't understand what she's saying. Can you help me? So we got on the phone again, and what the welfare worker, who was not just down a couple of blocks away, but actually was situated in Victoria, was trying to do was ask this gentleman to prove that he has worked for 2 years in his working life, and that he needed to call Service Canada and get them to send a record of all of his employment history. So she said, so she explained this to me, I explained it to him, and he said, all right. She said, but we used to be able to do that. I would just get a 3-way call going between 2 levels of government and the person to give permission that they could give out his information. But she says, I can't anymore because it's a 20-minute waiting on hold. And so there's 20 minutes at her end, at the provincial level, there's 20 minutes on their end, and they won't talk to each other anymore. Wow. So those same barriers, and yet this person is supposed to also find a phone in the community where he can be on the phone for at least 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. And we know that everywhere, in the Carnegie at least, it's a 5-minute. You get 5 minutes on the phone. So you get 5 minutes on the phone. In some places you get 20 minutes on a computer or 30 minutes on a computer around the free access. So if we can find time, right, and if we can use an office, we can do this kind of thing. We are caught in the moral dilemma, of the person who needs access and ourselves who are trying to make a service available to a lot of people. So we ended up doing this. She said, but she was actually trying to help this worker. She said, if you can call, and wait on the line and get this information, I can at least, you can tell me, and basically she was saying she would believe me, but not the person, right? Not the gentleman, but because I'm a worker, she would believe me, and they would release his check, and then she would put a hold on his next check, but by that time they're hoping to have written information. So we did all of this. We waited, we got it. We called back, we had to call back 3 times to Victoria. I hope you're getting frustrated because we were all frustrated. And then we reached her. Like, we couldn't get her, but we really wanted to get her because we thought this is the way to make this story end well. So we got her, and she said, you got it! But she was pleased. She was surprised and pleased. And yeah, so then, off we went, and he was able to get his check. So this is one person, right? One person who just happened on a day when there weren't also a million other things that I had to do, or I had to leave on time, and really, I think our volunteers, they are not advocates, right? We are not setting ourselves up as advocates, but we find that we're in the middle of this divide in such a way that we are trying to, on the one hand, be as helpful as possible, but also we see this huge shift of work from government offices onto the community. Last year, for some of because our work is literacy, right? So part of it is this, but part of it is something, it's a lot of other work as well. So last year, for one of our literacy grants, the funder is saying, we're wondering if we can add access to the labor market as one of the mandates of your project, and would you be willing to add this to one of your objectives? And all these literacy projects just looked at the funder and said, we do. That's what we do a lot of that work already. So we decided that for a month at the Carnegie we would document all the kinds of access stuff that we did, especially for the labor market. So I'll just let you know that in 1 month we had 42 people requiring hands-on assistance to complete labor market and government information tasks. So the tasks broke down as 8 online welfare applications, 12 resumes, 14 computer skills needed to do an online job application. So this is, sometimes people come in, as you know, and they don't have any email, but all of the job applications are by email. You can't fax anything, you can't drop anything by. So those, you have to be able to develop those skills as well. So not only managing your email, but also managing attachments and etc. So 2 assistants with online job search, 2 pension applications, 1 bus pass, 1 student loan application, 1 BC housing application, and 1 passport application. So all of this work used to be done by government workers, offering this kind of assistance. Because that's when access meant reaching out and doing the 50%, right? You do your 50%, the government's going to do their 50% to assist you. Well, it doesn't mean it's access. You know, I thought I was hearing access, but really I think I was hearing axe this. And so people chopped at the service being offered. So now for us, 1 whole week of a full-time person is devoted to that kind of work in our learning center. And it used to be done by someone who was paid full-time, who received benefits, and who received a pension. And where are those tutor pensions? They're nowhere, right? We're not even having those kinds of discussions. So we know that this is not just a downtown east side issue. In the last literacy survey in Canada, 20% of people responding could not or would not even attempt the technology question. So this is an issue from across Canada. And it's not because some people are, you know, not with it or can't learn. It's all about all the things that you've been talking about and that you know about. And I think we really have to stand up together about this. And I'm just really willing to go to another level around trying to explain. It's not just explanation. I think for maybe some of the general public, they still think that a welfare office actually has a person there, right? But I think more and more, as people try to even access things like passports and everything, they find there's very little, you know, where you actually can ask a question. So to me, this is a human rights issue. It's a way that our government has been using the disadvantage of technology to keep people from accessing what is their Canadian right. And on the other hand, we just have fewer and fewer services available. And even the nonprofits who are doing this kind of work and all the volunteers who are offering their time and energy and patience are being cut back as well. So something has to give, and I think we just have to rise up together. That's all I can say.